Good morning. Mic check. How's everyone doing? Happy Monday. Thank you, Jen. See Lisa, Sweet Eats by V. Good morning, everybody. Angela, Martha, Made by Erica. Juana's in there with the shot glasses. Unicorn Cindy with 1,000 bits. Thank you very much. And a reminder, you do not need to gift any subs today. What's wrong there, Carla Marie?
I'm not wearing these.
Why?
Because I can only hear the music. I can't hear you.
Really?
And it sounded like...
Yeah, I mean, they're free headphones from a baseball game, so I guess we'll just throw them out. Well, yeah, and to throw them out responsibly. Z from NYC, thank you very much for your subscription. So yeah, if you want to subscribe on your own or use your Prime sub, absolutely do that. But there is no need to gift subs because we are going to try, for the first time ever, in March, we're going to try some ads and see how that works.
March Madness, if you will.
Looks like we're close to starting a hype train. There we go. Got that hype train started.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome to the Carla Marie and Anthony Show. My name is Anthony.
I'm Carla Marie.
And we normally have a list that would go on the right-hand side of your screen, but for some reason the main camera is not working.
Oh.
So the scene with that screen, yeah.
You should make a skinny one for the middle.
I will. I'm going to have to make like a, because especially when we're streaming from different places, we would like to use that list as anyway. So, but I made that list this morning, so that was a waste of 10 minutes of my morning. Just putting that thing together. But yeah, the center camera is not working today, which is fine because we have two other cameras to use.
Look at us stepping up in the world.
You're right
in the past, we would have just...
Yeah, I don't know. In the past, we would have delayed the show, switched cameras, but we are still good. And I mean, they're working for now. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Thank you to everyone who has not gifted subs actually, but gifted us some bits.
And subscribed.
Use some subscriptions themselves and some Prime subs because we are trying to not collect any gifted subs for the rest of the month because in March, our goal is to play around with the Twitch partner ad model and see if that works for us.
It's so weird wearing headphones like this.
Why?
Because
you're a professional, Carla Marie.
Well, I don't normally wear them for Twitch because I hate the way that they look on camera.
See, I like the way they look.
I don't. So I normally wear them when we record the morning show podcast. So obviously I know what it sounds like, but it's weird being in here. It just sounds so much better. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says. AirPods, any wired headphone like that, like the little ones, is nothing compared to over-the-ear headphones.
Well, it's a fuller sound.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, and I hate seeing this on TikTok and Reels, is the amount of people who do like those fake interviews for their Reels, for their video content. They'll just like sit by a microphone and talk. And clearly the microphone is oftentimes plugged in because you can tell the audio quality is better, but they're not wearing headphones. and they're just giving you like, I don't know, drop shipping advice or whatever they do on TikTok and Reels.
I will say though, that's almost no different than someone using a wireless mic.
It is because they're pretending they're in a podcast studio. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, but you don't need to wear your headphones for that.
But you should.
Because right now I don't need to hear you.
Remember, so there was over the weekend, Carla Marie and I were flipping through the channels through live TV, which there are not a lot of options. There are literally more options on Twitch than live, like better and more options on Twitch than live TV, without a doubt. But we got to ESPN, and I can't remember the woman's name. She's one of the ESPN Sports Center hosts, but she has a podcast. I want to say El King, but it's not El King.
El Duncan?
Maybe. It could be El Duncan. But anyway, she's got a podcast with some random co-host I've never seen before, and it's a good podcast. I'm not trying to poop on this podcast at all, but they're in clearly what's set up to look like a podcast studio. Neither of them have headphones on.
He kept
and you could
yelling into the mic.
The quality, like you could tell that they couldn't hear themselves properly or the way the audience was going to hear it because of the way he was talking into the microphone. And when you have headphones on, you scream less into the microphone because that's going into your ears as well.
Of course.
It was a good show, though. And I think we're going to see more and more of what they're doing where you record a podcast with a nice aesthetic, right? And then you just post it on TV whenever there's... Because like with ESPN, especially because their programming is so varied. Sometimes they have games, sometimes they don't. So they're always looking for fill content,
right?
Essentially.
Especially now.
So why not take one of your podcasts, make it look good, and throw it on the camera?
This is the line.
This one?
Keep your hands
look at that.
On your side.
Whoop. Whoa, it's almost like one continuous shot.
That's weird. Yeah, and there were people that were just twitching.
Okay, well, that's what you're supposed to do on Twitch, is it not? Let's see. We got 3 subs, 3,000 bits today in our hype train. So thank you very much to everyone. Maybe someone one day will use our podcast as a TV show.
No, they won't. Not after that. The arm ruined it.
Here's why I don't think the arm ruined it, Carla Marie. And again, I'm not trying to poo-poo on this podcast at all because I think what he's done for the digital broadcast space is incredible. But you've watched the Pat McAfee show, right? It's a great show. Again, if this ever gets clipped and Pat, you ever watch this, if your staff ever watches this, I think your show is phenomenal.
So good. It is so good.
However, the graphics on their show.
I'm not recalling.
The brick background they use for all of their interviews, their lower thirds are very hard to read.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a web show essentially.
But also, I mean, granted, I'm wearing a sweatshirt today, but there are days where I'm like, I can't wear that. Like, I'm going to be on camera. Yeah. And then I think this man is just going to show up in a loose-fitting tank top.
Yeah.
Not you, maybe.
I have. I used to do... I wonder... He must have been doing it first, the tank tops. Because I started doing Tank Top Friday when we were on the radio. It was like summer of 2018, I think it would have been. Tank Top Friday. 19. And that was from Memorial... 19? You sure? Because that was from Memorial Day to Labor Day. I wore a tank top every single Friday.
Because that was our first summer with Evan in Alabama.
Okay. All right. That makes sense then. So yeah, Tank Top Friday. I started 5 years ago almost. Maybe I'll do Tank Top Tuesday since we're not on stream on Fridays.
We got to find out if that's allowed in this office.
It should be. Why wouldn't it be?
I don't know.
You think people are scared of the guns?
Oh my God. Yes.
Yesterday, obviously, was the Super Bowl, and I know some people who were in Vegas for Super Bowl activities, whether they went to the game or not, doesn't matter. But a kid I grew up with, went to church with, was at one of the clubs at night because he represents some football players. Travis Kelce was there.
So was Taylor. It was Marshmello was performing.
Oh, I don't know. They probably bounced around. So,
no.
Anyway,
was he at that one? You can't just say
he was
that.
There. He was there. Travis Kelce was near him.
So then Taylor was there too.
But again, I don't know if they bounced around. I don't know if Travis and
they
Taylor
were together.
bounced.
He didn't go out without her.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't know if they bounced around to other clubs in the same night because I didn't see Marshmello on this kid's story.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, what's this guy's name? Church friend?
My friend Sean.
Your friend Sean?
Yeah.
If Travis was there, then so was Taylor, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about Marshmallow.
Okay, what?
I didn't see Taylor in his story. Anyway, what I was gonna get to
So
was
concerned about Marshmallow.
it was funny because normally in Vegas clubs, like dress codes are pretty strict.
Not
Unless, of course, you have a table and then you could kind of wear whatever you want because you've paid $10,000 to sit.
But if you're coming from a game where you're wearing a jersey,
The amount of hats and jerseys
yeah, it's so weird.
that were in these nightclubs was wild.
Well,
You would
'cause-
never see that.
Yeah, but you can't expect people to
Of
go
course.
back in traffic to their hotel.
Of course. And actually, one of the clubs here in Bellevue that DJ FaZe and Vega both spin at, it's called Forum Social House.
Yeah,
If it's during Mariners season,
they
they will allow people in there with jerseys and hats. And I think you might get free entrance or something if you have a Mariners jersey, something like that, because they want people
It's
to
cool.
go from the games back to Bellevue and go out.
Okay, we will talk all things Super Bowl.
Yeah, of course.
We had it all on the list that you can't see.
Mhm.
But
Here, hold on.
if I deal with,
There's our list.
I've been fielding questions left and right about your Super Bowl tickets. And you have never talked about it on here.
No, so we never ended up selling them. What happened?
Well, okay.
What?
Let's go back. Anthony, season ticket holder
Yes.
for the Vegas Raiders, was able to buy Super Bowl tickets.
Mm-hmm.
You and your cousin share the season tickets, so you both bought them
Yeah,
together.
they're in his name.
And the idea was to upsell them, like everyone does.
Yeah.
And you paid how much for them?
It all came out to 10 grand per ticket.
Okay. Now, because you had...
So one of the things that happened, and again, this was our first time buying Super Bowl tickets. Because we were season ticket holders, we were allowed to buy the tickets ahead of time, and they threw in like an extra package. It was like this whole event before the Super Bowl with, I think, former football players, food, drink, all of that stuff. Celebrities, all the crazy stuff that you could only get access to, I believe, if you were a season ticket holder. So we added that onto our tickets, but that was the problem that we ran into when we were trying to sell the tickets, because there was no way on Ticketmaster or StubHub to indicate those, because it wasn't a barcode thing. You had to have passes.
And in Ticketmaster, I believe in their rules, it says you can't resell any VIP access unless it's like, that's your seat is a VIP seat. There's no way to resell a meet and greet or any of
But
that.
you can do parking passes, no? Can't you resell parking passes?
I don't know. That's a different. That's
Or maybe it just comes attached to the ticket?
yeah. Yes, it does because it's all normally like
Okay.
PDF downloadable. So you can't resell that, and that was a big chunk of what you guys paid for.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was my cousin went. He took a client with him. It was a great experience from what I saw on Instagram. I could have gone if I wanted to. It could have just been me and my cousin. But the second we decided to sell them, I basically put that money back into my brain. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I'm not spending all that money to go to the game. And then last minute, the flights would have been expensive. The hotels would have been, I don't even know where we would have stayed. So I just decided not to go. My cousin took his client, and I'll talk to him today and see how it was.
He was
Because they
posting
got to go to the event, too.
He was posting some videos. He said the halftime show was incredible.
Yeah.
So like from the stadium, which you
That's
never
what I was
hear.
going to ask him, yeah.
You never hear anyone say that. Anyone who has been to a Super Bowl says it is awful to watch the halftime show from there. And I will even tell you that other than actual concerts in stadiums, it is so hard to get an artist performing to sound good within a stadium because it's just not built for that.
Two things. Do you remember when Froggy went to see the Bucks play in Tom Brady's first Super Bowl or only Super Bowl with the Bucks?
Yeah.
That was one of the things he said. He said the halftime performance, like, you could barely hear, and it was terrible. But also going into this season, I said I do think the people in Allegiant Stadium are going to have a great time, because even with the halftime performances that I've been able to see during the regular season games, because like Rick Ross was there this year, Sublime with Rome was there last year, and the year before that was Marshmello, actually, speaking of Marshmello. And all of them sounded incredible. And we've seen some here at Lumen, and they're decent at Lumen.
I can't,
but it's not great.
I can't tell because I'm...
Because you're 2 feet away?
Yeah.
But it's not great. And it's an open air stadium. It's totally different vibe. But I had the sneaky suspicion that the people in this stadium were going to really enjoy it. And it turns out that, Usher, not only did he kill it for us at home, I think Usher and the Super Bowl followed similar patterns. started off pretty slow and boring.
And then it was like,
And then, bam, it was
Roller skates.
phenomenal. And I think overall,
do you know that the internet, like, there's a whole part of the internet that is like, that is the worst Super Bowl performance I've ever seen.
that's silly.
And I'm just like,
That's silly.
Literally, go.
Wasn't the Who there a couple of years ago or something? It was god awful.
And they're mad that he should have just lip sang because he wasn't singing well.
I do a little bit, a tiny bit agree with that.
No, because then it's like, then you hear, oh, he lip sang. Why
Yeah.
are we having these performers there? Like, you can't win.
Yeah.
And then there's people that are mad that he was like all over Alicia Keys, and Swizz Beatz came out and was
funny.
like, first of all, that's the thing you're talking about, aside from how great she sounded, how awesome he was. Like, these are performers.
As great as Usher sounded, and I always, you can't knock the way Usher sounded at all, honestly. Because especially doing all the things he was doing and singing live sounded incredible. Alicia Keys sounded that much.
Always.
Like, it was
Always.
wild how good she sounded. And then when Her came out on the guitar,
Oh my God, so good.
I actually thought Alicia Keys and Her kind of stole the show. I know that everyone loved the end with Yeah, with Usher and Little
Of
John
course.
and Ludacris, which was phenomenal. But man, those two women like rocked
So
that
cool.
stage.
But yeah,
I don't know if you could call it stealing the show, but it was close.
that's the point, though.
But that's the thing. I think throughout his performance, and I will argue, I know that like the bet makers said that My Way wasn't his first song, but it was the first song you heard.
But I don't know how. I guess they count the first song the artist sings.
Nonsense. That was probably the only disappointing thing for me, was he didn't do any real portion of the song My Way, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. And if you watch that video, like, go back today after the show's over, watch the My Way music video. It almost seems like he took cues for his halftime performance, Usher did, from that video, because it was kind of like carnival-y vibe, dancers everywhere around him, instead of like in a clean line or order or anything. It was kind of like he took the idea for the My Way music video and made it the whole performance, but didn't do the song.
Well, also I think it was Vegas too. A lot of that was Vegas-y.
Yeah,
Like
I have really enjoyed, what is it, the third year Apple's done the halftime show?
That makes sense.
I like the way that they do their camera work, where you're more like involved in the performance. I feel like before it was all kind of away from the stage,
I guess.
but they're going like through dancers and stuff. They did it last year with Rihanna too.
But also, it's not just Apple. It's just the technology that we have now with
Yeah.
cameras. We got one of those new cameras last year at Seahawks, and this year we have two of them.
that do
and
what?
It's, they are, I forget what they're called, but the quality is insane. And the movement of them, they're almost like steady cams.
Okay, yeah.
And so also the technology, but also Apple has the money to bring those in, probably more
Yeah.
than Pepsi. I don't know.
Well, if they're not paying Usher, they have the money to do everything.
Correct. So those cameras, but also there were times where I was like, I want to see Usher, but this dancer's in the way.
Yeah. He brought out the roller skates.
He tripped. I did
Duh,
what?
Whatever. Have you seen you on roller skates?
Yes, I fell.
The one time.
Fell
This
immediately.
man was singing in
But guess
synchronized
what?
roller skating.
If I was about to perform at the halftime Super Bowl, I'd be on my sneaker feet,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I kind of wish he was on wheelies. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
My brother Justin sent me, there are like a new version of wheelies apparently.
Well, actually,
Have you seen them?
No, but to interrupt you, when I saw Usher walking off, like there's just a video of him coming back through the tunnel right after the performance,
Okay.
and he's in sneakers. So at what point did he change?
That's a good question.
I would love to just watch him change his shoes. For some reason, I feel like
Do you remember those roller skates? They weren't full roller skates,
The
but
rubber bottoms?
You had to like strap them to your sneaker.
Yeah, maybe that's what he had
maybe
on.
he had those. He did have custom Jordan 4s.
Oh, he changed before? Yeah, really?
He had custom Jordan 4s that he was wearing. If you look at the shiny sneakers he was wearing that were silver, they were like patent leather silver. So they were very shiny, and then they had some blue trim on them. They looked sick.
I want his shiny outfit for the next time I go to the Air store.
It was a cool outfit. I mean, there were some memes this morning where at the very end, when Lil Jon, Usher, and Ludacris are standing next to each other with their blue and black uniforms, they look like the Globo gym team. Have you seen it? Have you seen the side by side?
No.
It's pretty good. So Globo Gym from why can't I think of the movie? Dodgeball.
Shalonda on YouTube said that was an Atlanta production. The marching band was from Jonesboro, Georgia, just south of Atlanta. And the producers on stage, how are the producers on stage? Most of the performers live in Atlanta. Everyone was from Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Is what I got.
Yeah. I mean, this was a crazy thing. A couple of years ago, the Super Bowl was in Atlanta. It was when they had Maroon 5, which was not good.
I can't. Why?
This is the performance they should have done there.
Yeah.
They should have put Usher, Ludacris, and Lil Jon on stage. And that's what everyone was saying. There were so many options for that Super Bowl in Atlanta to do Atlanta music.
And then they just did, I'm on a payphone.
The only thing they did was they brought out Big Boy for like 3 seconds.
During halftime?
Yeah, with Maroon 5 and Adam Levine.
Maroon 5 and Adam Levine.
Yeah. He came out in like a Cadillac for like 30 seconds, and that was it. And that was their shout out to Atlanta, basically. Whereas they could have had yesterday's show instead of shipping. Think about how much money they would have saved. Instead of shipping everyone out to Vegas.
I don't think they still live there.
I think I don't think Usher probably still has a house in Atlanta, but I think he now lives in Vegas because of his residency.
I mean, yeah.
Or at least is there often.
He's like living that Richie Rich life on top of a resort in a suite. Oh, so cool.
One of my other friends, because this also launched this weekend, which made a lot of sense, the Wu-Tang residency started this weekend, and they're back twice in March. And that's something I definitely want to go to. Because I asked him, I said, because with older hip-hop shows, sometimes you get bad shows. But also you add the production value of Vegas, and he said the show itself was very, very good. I've seen Wu-Tang live 3 times. So I definitely want to go check out their residency.
Tacoma Swifty said, now we just need a punk emo halftime show. This actually would have been the year to do it as well, because Vegas has the When We Were Young festival.
They also have the Punk Museum.
In Vegas? Mm-hmm. That'd be such a good show.
I think we're probably, unfortunately, 10 years away from that. Because think about it. Usher at his peak was like 10 years ago. I mean, he's still great. He's still an amazing artist.
Usher at his peak was more than 10 years ago.
I think so.
Yes.
No, I think My Boo came out 10 years ago. Him and Alicia Keys.
You would say that was his peak? Yeah, it was his peak.
Yeah. So that was like 20 years ago.
That was 2004.
But what I'm trying to say is, okay, so that same time is when pop punk specifically
so next
peaked.
Year.
Maybe.
Next year, we're going to have Jimmy Eat World, Taking Back Sunday, Fall Out Boy.
It would have to be Blink-182,
Green Day,
but I don't think they would trust.
Blink-182 and My Chem.
My problem is, or their problem is,
they will not trust Green Day.
They don't trust Green Day and Blink.
No.
At all. And I wouldn't either. Honestly, I've seen them perform live. I wouldn't trust them at all. So if you take out the 2 biggest names,
but also
Yellow Card would be great.
Yes, that would actually be insane.
And maybe that's something they should do. Put a rotating stage, and like Yellow Card does 40 seconds of Ocean Avenue.
You could have 800 performers. They're not getting paid, so it doesn't
That's
matter.
true.
But also the whole Billy Joe thing, like we know this. When
Billy
he
Joe
did
Armstrong, yeah.
When he did it at iHeart, that was staged.
I don't think it was.
It was on the teleprompter.
Was it?
You don't remember that whole thing?
I don't know.
I think it went longer than it was supposed to, but it was staged. Like we knew.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to smash his guitar.
Yeah.
But I think all of the other things that happened, because he went on like a tirade, he did a bunch of stuff. Because I remember our friend Darren was running the stage at the time for iHeartRadio. Now he works for MSG, but I remember it screwed up his timing for the show.
Yes,
because it went on way longer than it was supposed to. And then he apologized and like went to rehab or something, or went into some facility afterwards. Unless he was just planning a vacation. You know, like, you know what I'm going to do to make sure no one bothers me on vacation? I'm going to fake losing my shit.
I'm going to actually do that for next vacation.
You know what? Vicky brings up a good point. Fall Out Boy would probably be the safest and best answer for a pop punk representative on that stage. I'd have to go to that
Super Bowl.
And
that'd be so cool.
I think if you bring, because Fall Out Boy actually has a little bit of, they had their, what's it called? Their label for a little bit. Like they kind of controlled it. So I think you bring out Panic and Paramore as like the special guests. And I think that would be a pretty good halftime show.
And then Panic, actually just Brendan, brings out Taylor and they do Me, the one song she will never perform ever again in her whole life.
Does she not do that at the Eras Tour?
No, she's embarrassed by that song.
Really?
Yeah, she hates it.
I think both of them hate it, but they both also made a lot of money off of it.
And also, that's when she met her cat, Benjamin Button.
Oh, yeah, it was a video, right? But that's how many cats does she have? 4?
Was not a rescue cat. 3.
Whatever. She played it as a secret song, according to Amanda O'Brien.
But not to that. It was just acoustic.
At like one of the main shows,
Yes.
though. Okay.
Yeah.
What did she do when you saw her? What was the secret song?
I forget all the time. Maroon and
Don't know that song.
I literally just had this conversation the other day, and I'm like, concert amnesia is real.
Mm-hmm. Well, because hopefully you're in the moment.
I've also watched almost every Eras Tour show, so I don't even know which one was mine. Maroon and... Oh, my God.
It doesn't matter, honestly.
Well, now I just need to know.
It was just something I wanted to see if you saw or knew. Speaking of the Super Bowl, which obviously we're going to do a lot today, what would you rate... We're going to end the halftime performance discussion. What would you rate Usher's halftime show? Scale of 1 to 10.
10. I can't complain.
10.
I was entertained. I laughed. I sang. I'm good.
I still think I think I would put it at my number 3.
Oh.
I think
okay,
Lady...
No.
I know, I'm not... I would give it I'd give it a 9 because it did start slow. Okay. It started to where I was actually concerned at one point that this was going to be a terrible halftime show. But then it took off. Where would you rank it?
Rank it? It's tough because I still will always say that Britney NSYNC Aerosmith is number 1.
And that's a nostalgic one for you.
Yeah, so it's hard to combat that. So I don't even know if it was good now that I think about it. Like,
because you're comparing it to that?
Just when I was like, no, I'm saying the Britney one. I was like 10.
Yeah.
What do I know? I think it's my number 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I would put it at number 3.
Then Gaga would be for
Gaga's number 1. I really still think, because Lady Gaga, I'm trying to think back. Number 1, it was impressive that she had no special guests.
No guests.
She did carried the whole thing by herself.
And she sang upside down.
But I don't think there was a bad song, right? Like there wasn't one song selection she had where you went, I wish you didn't play this one. Everything she did was like perfect on that stage. And number 2 for me, which might be a surprise to people, but I think the overall energy of that whole performance was great, was Bruno Mars. I still think Bruno Mars has, from an energy standpoint, the best.
Yeah, I might have to
those are my
agree with
top
you there.
2.
Bruno, but I actually enjoyed Katy Perry too. It was fun.
Katy Perry's a top 10, definitely. I don't know who I'd put between Usher and her.
J-Lo and Shakira, good one, Chris.
That was really good too. Mm-hmm. Who was last year? I thought visually Rihanna's was really good. But my problem, and I was saying this to someone over the weekend, my problem with Rihanna's music is a lot of it is too down tempo for me, for like that type of atmosphere.
Ooh, Prince in the Rain was good. Wait, was it actually raining?
I feel like I was too young to appreciate Prince's performance.
Who was the one that
just didn't care?
I remember, I think I was in high school and I was like, ugh, why are they putting these old people?
And Who?
No, and I think it was like Bruce Springsteen.
Because The Who, wasn't it The Who that they put after the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake nipple thing? Because they just wanted the most boring person they could put there.
This is why we can't have nice things to her.
Justin Timberlake, thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'm done with him, actually.
Why? What did he do this time?
He's such a douche.
Okay, how so?
Did you see the whole thing that he did when he had his like a little secret show 2 weeks ago?
Was that the one Scary went to?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that Scary and Gandhi were posting from there.
No, the whole thing that came out of that?
No.
Justin gets on the mic and he said, I'm going to take this time to apologize to absolutely fucking no one. This is after it came out that he forced Britney Spears to have an abortion when they were dating.
I don't know any of this stuff.
So
I
it's
really
like,
don't pay
what
a lot
are
of
you
attention
talking
to Justin Timberlake.
Justin?
I think he just does things to try to look cool.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
And then there were all these people.
After Nipplegate, it was Paul McCartney. Interesting. But
even worse.
Am I wrong?
No
Did
offense.
The Who not
They did at some point
perform at all at the halftime show?
But after that whole thing happened with Justin, there was a whole lot of, all right, we don't need him for the NSYNC tour. Just let the guys go without him. We've been waiting on his ass this whole time.
This might be a hot take. I think if there was a reunion tour, I think it would actually be better without Justin.
I agree, because he's not fun.
I'm not even talking about like any of the drama that has been because of Justin.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's too big of an individual name for that tour to be good with him on it. I would rather see the other guys appreciate the moment that they're in.
Yeah.
Right. Because Justin has always made it feel like he'd be slumming it if he ever did an NSYNC tour, even though he'd be making millions and millions of dollars. I would rather the other guys make all of the money from the tour.
That's fair.
And see
don't think
them
they're allowed.
actually happy on stage. Because I don't think he'd look happy. Remember when he did the quick reunion at the VMAs?
They were just up. Oh, the performance? I don't remember.
I feel like it was all Justin Timberlake. They brought them out for a little bit, and I feel like he didn't like it.
Listen, I love NSYNC. We are friends with Joey Fatone.
Love Joey.
So I'm not like being a dick when I say this, but Justin's not the most talented person in that group.
No.
He could dance. And again, I will say this. Listen to the first NSYNC album. JC is the lead. Then the second one, it's Justin, and he can't sing. What happened? Sounds like somebody said, I'm leaving the band unless you make me the lead.
It was funny when we were doing that trip to Taiwan where we met Joey Fatone originally. Mm-hmm. You had mentioned that to me, that JC was supposed to be like the it guy. And I liked NSYNC growing up, but I was also, that was the time in life. And if you're younger than a millennial, you might not understand this. I don't know what happens in school today, but like if you were a guy and you admitted to liking NSYNC in middle school and high school, what were you? Gay. It was just the way, if you liked anything that was not considered normal and masculine at the time, you were just gay. Anything, doesn't matter. So I never told my friends, like, I kind of like NSYNC. They're fun.
I feel like the guys in my class also, they loved Backstreet Boys.
Oh, no, I could not do that. But
Ridgewood for you.
So that's why I couldn't like, it's the same thing. This is a weird comparison. Same way I felt about Hello Kitty. I loved Hello Kitty stuff. The artwork was so cool. I love like that kawaii, chibi artwork.
Since you were a kid?
Always. So one of the reasons I like Pokemon. But I never like bought any Hello Kitty stuff because I didn't want to go to school and have kids call me gay.
All right.
That's just what you dealt with in middle school in the
So why don't you wear Hello Kitty now?
I would now. I'm just trying not to spend money now. So, but I do have some Pokemon shirts and stuff. I was actually the shirt, the company.
But Pokemon, if you wore a Pokemon shirt, they wouldn't have been like, you're gay.
But I didn't wear Pokemon stuff in middle school and high school.
Why not?
I just played the games because I didn't want to be called gay.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone wore Pokemon.
No.
I think
not in high school.
I think you went to like, where did you go to school? Because like kids that I went to school with, they were not great, but like this sounds awful.
Yeah, in Ridgewood High School. I mean, listen, it's a great high school. I can't like say anything bad about it academically, but yeah, you would be, I mean, I think kids just used every opportunity to call each other gay. Because also, I don't think kids fully understood what they were even saying.
No, they did. They're just dumb.
But I would love to see a Roosevelt's Hello Kitty collaboration. That would be awesome. They've been trying. Apparently, they've tried to work with the Pokemon company a couple times.
Wait, are Pokemon and Hello Kitty the same company?
No, but the artwork is similar.
All right, but that's no.
What?
That's like saying all cartoons are similar.
No. There's a very specific Japanese style chibi or kawaii art. They're like variations, but they kind of are in the same family.
I feel like there is Roosevelt's Hello Kitty.
I don't think there is. And actually, you know, if you ever go to Disney World, that's the one in Florida, correct? Yes. When you go to Epcot and they have all the different countries you can visit, when you go to Japan, they actually have a little kawaii art museum. It's one room, essentially, but it takes you through the development of that art style and why it happened. And a lot of it was because after World War II, Japan was in such a bad place that the art helped people just smile by seeing all this cute artwork, which is why it took off, because the youth in Japan was devastated. I mean, America did a number on Japan after World War II. Obviously, not even just with the atomic bombs. I mean, there was a lot of bombing going on. And that's kind of how that art style grabbed hold and took off.
Did we watch on Netflix the Hello Kitty?
Toys That Made Us, Hello Kitty episode.
That's a cool one.
It's a very good episode.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about the Hello Kitty is it Sanrio is the name of the company? Even though they had pumped so much money into Hello Kitty, for a long time, it was one of the worst performing characters in the Sanrio lineup.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Martha said my brother got featured on the Dilfs of Disneyland Instagram. Wait, send it to me because I follow them. And I don't know, maybe it was your brother that I saw.
That's funny. Fred the Mailman said he met a couple of the Backstreet Boys guys back in 1996, and they were so tiny.
Yeah,
well, yeah, they were probably children in 1996. Right? They were probably still teenagers in 96. Because they blew up in like 99. That was the year that...
no, they were already, I think.
Wasn't it the Millennium album? What was that album
2000.
called? Sure. Okay.
Because, get it?
No, I get it, but I thought it was like at the tail end of 99 it came out. But I could be wrong.
Backstreet Boys always seemed older than NSYNC, though, to me.
Usher will be at Climate Pledge on November 10th. We talked about that, no? Did you have the date?
That wasn't here. That wasn't on the show.
Oh,
that was
wasn't.
before the show started. I sent it to you.
Okay. Moving on. I don't even know how we got into... Oh, because we went from liking Backstreet Boys and NSYNC in middle school but not being able to admit it to also liking Hello Kitty and Pokemon artwork and not being able to admit it. Okay.
Guys.
What? What is this?
Martha's brother.
That's hilarious. Okay. I want to go through... we have all the Super Bowl... Or I wrote down all the Super Bowl commercials that jumped out to me.
All right, we're not going to just sit here and read commercials, though.
Well, no, we're going to discuss them. Is that not okay with you?
I know,
do
but
the
I
thing
feel
that
like
everyone does today?
I feel like it gets boring without having, like, clips and stuff.
No, we're going to talk about them. There are a handful that I listed as a waste of money.
Okay.
Okay? So we'll go with those because I think I have 3 of those first. The Xfinity and Christian McCaffrey
Stupid
video, not only was it bad, it was 100% a waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the acting was bad. The idea behind it was bad. Everything about that commercial was bad. Absolute waste of money, especially when you consider they had to pay that man to be in the commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That one, terrible. Another bad one, again, because of the amount of people they had in the commercial, the Oreo twist on it.
I don't remember that one.
It was like instead of flipping a coin, you twist on it, and it was all these major decisions that had to be made. Again, you didn't even remember it, so pretty terrible. I thought that was a really bad one.
Just a pause. Everyone's mentioning this one. We only saw it on social media. We didn't get the Dunkin'. We don't get the Dunkin' Donuts.
No, we did. I literally have it.
Which one was it?
The Ben Affleck when he's like pretending he wants to get on J-Lo's album.
But the other one with
Matt Damon's in it.
Yes, there's that one, but there's another one that we didn't get.
Jack Harlow. There's a lot of people in this one.
It's not that one. It's a standalone one. Whatever. But
okay, because we definitely saw
I
a
feel
Dunkin'
like we
one.
don't normally see the Dunkin' ones. Like last year we didn't.
I don't know. Maybe
Because
you
we
just
don't
weren't
have
paying attention.
Dunkins. I don't know.
Because I thought the Dunkin' one was actually pretty good. We'll get to
It's
that.
funny.
But the absolute worst. So I have my 3 wastes. It was Xfinity with Christian McCaffrey, the Oreo twist on it one. The absolute biggest waste of money, Lindor chocolate.
Why would they do that? It wasn't even funny.
It was a nothing commercial that they paid millions of dollars to put on TV.
That was in the first break.
Yeah. It was an absolute nothing commercial.
So insane.
It was like a music note or something that was going through the screen and then people just untwisting Lindor, right? Chocolate.
Yeah, I love them, but
terrible commercial.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't, I felt like the reason, even though it was the worst commercial, they probably had that commercial already done and just like slipped it to the NFL and said, you could play this one. The other ones were worse because you could tell they were produced for the Super Bowl. I also removed from this list, there are no movie trailers. I feel like movie trailers, you can't put them in the same category as regular commercials. No. So all their movie trailers are out of here. What did you think was the best commercial, Carly Marie?
I told you to write mine down.
Oh, you were a big fan of, was it DoorDash? The DoorDash contest?
I thought that was clever.
Yeah,
it
me
was
too.
Like a great commercial. So at the very
Etsy?
end of the Super Bowl, DoorDash said, hey, every commercial, out of every commercial you've seen, we have a contest. You can win something from every commercial. Yeah. And it's so clever. It's an actual contest that they're running. So go enter because that's cool. But the Etsy one was so good. It was showing their new Etsy gifting options now.
Yeah.
And it's when France is delivering the Statue of Liberty to New York and they're like, damn, that's a good gift. What do we do? And like, what do French people love? And they're like, cheese. And they bring up a charcuterie board and the French love it.
I did think that one was good. Yeah, I have Dunkin' Donuts with J-Lo, Tom Brady, Fat Joe,
Yeah.
Ben and Matt. I have that listed.
Oh.
I thought that was a phenomenal one. Especially
so
like
funny.
Star power, great. You got the stars out of their comfort zone
And
a
I
little bit.
love seeing Ben Affleck being able to make fun of himself.
Exactly. So that's a top one for me. I think obviously we are cat people, but the Best Foods Mayo cat commercial was pretty good. And what was it Kate McKinnon that's in that
Yes.
commercial, right? What else do we have here?
You did not like, and I enjoyed all of them, the homes.com.
Yeah.
Because you don't like Schitt's Creek and you don't like
No,
it.
I love Schitt's Creek.
You don't like it like I like it.
I don't know. I haven't watched every episode 6 times. So
But
I
I'll tell
don't
you
like
what,
it like
I
you
didn't
like
really
it.
think about going to homes.com. I'm a Zillow girl, but you know what?
Well, homes.com and apartment.com are the same company, yes?
Probs. I went to homes.com. It's so smooth. I love the way everything they do. It's very nice, so they got me.
It's fair. The other one we both enjoyed right off the bat, T-Mobile and Aquaman, Jason Momoa.
Yeah, and my boy, Zach Braff.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good one. And yes, we do work with T-Mobile, so I know people are going to maybe not take our opinion on that
No, the
seriously.
T-Mobile auditions was cool too,
Yeah.
though.
What else was on here? Okay, I'm going to go through my list now. The BetMGM, not Tom Brady. Everyone's allowed to. I thought that was good too, because again, much like the Ben Affleck one, when you can have the celebrity
Make fun of them.
make fun of themselves, I thought that was great. Michael Cera and Sarah V.
But the lead up to this has been great.
So good. The BMW Christopher Walken one.
That actually, I think, is my favorite. Because
Again, same formula, right?
Because-
Major celebrity.
making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
Because I said the whole idea of that commercial was people, and they were all celebrities, talking to Christopher Walken the way he speaks.
Were they all celebrities?
Almost all of them were. Yes.
Really? Okay.
Because even Usher's in it.
Yeah, no, Usher's
But
at the
there's
end.
a bunch. And my thought process just for behind the scenes was the panic as an actor to have to act as
Yeah.
the person you are speaking to.
I
That
thought
was such a good one.
I thought it was very underrated. I think because it was so early in the day that it probably like flew under the radar. The Arnold State Farm ones, I love Arnold,
Neighbor.
but it was good.
So good.
Again,
So
we're gonna
smart.
find like a common thread here. It's the celebrity making fun of themselves.
But I want to be in the meeting when State Farm is like, wait a minute. Let's get Arnold Schwarzenegger, who can't say neighbor, in our commercials.
That was good. Then I have the Dunkin' Donuts with. I think that may have been my favorite commercial. The Dunkin' Donuts J-Lo.
Dunking.
What?
Dunking is the whole
Dun
thing.
Kings?
No, King.
Is it? I don't know, whatever. I thought that was good. And this, people are going to get mad at me for saying this. And I don't want to get political here at all, because I don't even know if I like him as a candidate. I thought the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. ad was hilarious.
It was like, I think it was an actual Kennedy ad from the 60s.
Like from his uncle?
And
Or
he just-
was it his uncle? Yeah.
It just took it and ran it. I went,
There was something so. Here's why I loved it. First off, it had a jingle, which was kind of fun that you could sing along to.
I need to know.
And again, I'm not trying to speak to what he would be like as even a candidate or a serious candidate or a presidential or a president, but I thought it was hilarious. And what I did like about it from a political standpoint was it wasn't like doom and gloom,
No.
right? It wasn't like, oh, Biden's America is on fire, Trump's America is on fire. It was just like a little jingle.
Mr. Kennedy had faced blowback over a $7 million ad run by his super PAC that closely resembled a spot supporting his uncle, John F. Kennedy,
Yep.
in his 1960 bid for the White House. Stupid, though, because we were both like, what?
I thought it was at least very unique for a Super Bowl ad. And it made me giggle a little bit.
$7 million
Probably a waste.
to tell people to vote independent.
Listen, the biggest waste of money in America is campaign ads. So, I mean, we literally worked for a company that only stays alive every 4 years because of campaign. And that's every media company. It's a 2-year cycle, really. You make your big money during a presidential campaign every 4 years. But then every 2 years, essentially, when the midterms are happening, you're still making a little bit of money. And it's hundreds of millions of dollars for all of these companies. But moving on. The e.l.f. Cosmetics Judge Judy,
I saw someone say that.
decent. Not great, but it was good enough.
Where do we have the Uber? You have to forget something to remember something.
That's on here as well. Even though I saw it before the Super Bowl, which to me, like, knocks it down a peg. But and I know they're trying to get as much attention for all these ads. The Paramount Plus ad with all the different
Hey
characters.
Arnold, Peppa Pig. I didn't see that before the Super Bowl, so I was cracking up watching.
Oh, okay,
it.
I saw it. I think Brett may have sent it to us.
Oh.
But Pluto TV, Couch Potato.
Oh, so smart.
That was a good one,
Very
too.
clever.
Good
Big
one,
fan
too.
of that.
Oh, then I have Uber Eats Forget Something.
I loved it. It was, star power.
Yeah.
Which big fan of, obviously. And I've seen the lead up and the teases for it. And the teases for it were commercials in and of themselves.
Yeah.
And the idea is, in order to remember something, you have to forget something. And that's what Jennifer Aniston says. You have to, in order to remember that Uber delivery does all of these deliveries, you got to forget something else. So she forgets,
Ross?
yeah, what the hell's his real name? David Schwimmer. I actually forgot it in that
didn't
moment.
even think I knew
Damn,
it.
you would think Uber's paying me. And
My favorite
it's
thing,
got David Beckham and Posh Spice trying to remember the Spice Girls.
But here's what I love with Super Bowl commercials specifically is if you can reference the Super Bowl, and they had Usher very quickly at the end going, oh, I wish I could do the Super Bowl halftime show one day. And it's right after he did, obviously, the Super Bowl halftime show. So I like that part of it. Then we have Verizon and Beyonce, which I thought was dumb until I realized she actually did release music at the end of that commercial.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm watching it like, man, this is kind of a weird commercial. I don't think I like it very much. And then it turns out I didn't even know she did really release music until our friend Nada, who works for Apple Music, posted about it on her story. Then I have T-Mobile and Aquaman, and then DoorDash, the smartest, which was the smartest ad because it actually was actionable.
I did say what my favorite one was.
Which one?
So the screen goes completely white, and then it's like the Courier New font right in the middle in black, and it's random Disney quotes from Star Wars, Bippity Boppity Boo, Moana, all these things. And I say out loud, Disney has all this money and all these creators, and this is what they're spending their money on. And then it just goes, are you ready for it? And I went, oh, best commercial. Oh my God.
Carla Marie was literally going, this is so stupid. I hate this. This is so dumb. Disney's so stupid. And then I was the one that read out loud, are you ready for it? And I kind of did it with like the Taylor, like the way that the song says it in that pacing. And
I jumped
Carla
off the
Marie
couch.
lost her mind.
Jumped off the couch. So clever.
There
Big fan.
was
Favorite one.
This was just off of the list. I saw that Realtor Jen and Rebecca in Jacksonville messaged about it. The Lionel Messi commercial with Jason Sudeikis. Not Jason Sudeikis.
Yes.
Jason Sudeikis.
And
it was
Dan
okay.
Marino.
It was okay. In my opinion. If you liked it, that's great. Enjoy it. And I love the fact that they got Messi in a commercial. I just didn't think it was like unique enough.
Yeah,
I don't know. And I'm a Michelob Ultra fan. I'll drink it. It's good beer. It's got like a half a calorie or whatever they tell you about it.
Clydesdales came back.
I almost don't consider, I never consider putting the Clydesdales as a best Super Bowl ad because they should always be there.
Jen, I highly disagree with Jen's statement.
Which is what?
She said, I really didn't love any commercials. I was so disappointed. I thought this was the best year for commercials since like the GoDaddy year.
Much like the Super Bowl and the halftime show, I thought we had a slow start and then it was just like hit after hit after hit. But I think all of it, everything yesterday started slow.
Like I laughed more at those commercials than I do on some TV shows.
I laughed out loud with the Ben Affleck one. I laughed out loud with Jason Momoa. Laughed out loud with the Etsy one.
And
the
Peppa
French
Pig.
one. Peppa Pig was good. Is it Peppa or Pippa?
Peppa.
Peppa. Huh. I also was Peppa Pig.
Peppa Pig. That was my British accent.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Clydesdales should just be a standing favorite. Everyone goes, okay, we love the Clydesdales, and we move on and we rank everything else. There's something that's just, it's football, it's Super Bowl, it's America. Are Clydesdales even American horses? Probably not. There were no American horses.
Thank you for bringing this up. The Skechers with Mr. T.
Oh, that was a decent one too.
Who was he in it?
Who was the first person that brings up that? I'm blanking. Someone in the chat will know.
It's a white football player.
Someone in the chat.
Is it Tony Romo?
Yeah, Tony Romo. Thank you very much.
I can't.
What?
I'm over him.
I thought he was a little annoying yesterday.
He's so annoying. And
I thought when he came in, he was
shitting
great.
on broadcasters because I get it. It's the area that we're in.
Yeah.
And what they do is so hard, so difficult because you have to be so precise. You can never stutter and you have to know what is going on in the moment. I'm not saying that part. Like he's great at, they're great at that job. He's so annoying.
Here's what I wish they talked about more with Tony Romo. Because especially during the lead up to the Super Bowl, there's a lot of talk about Taylor Swift, right? Like everyone's talking about it. They should be asking Tony Romo what it was like. What was it like being the precursor to the Taylor Kelce craze?
Tony Romo and
right?
Jessica Simpson.
That was huge.
They can't.
And then didn't he also date Carrie Underwood?
Maybe.
I think he dated both of them. And it was big. I mean, I remember when he dated Jessica Simpson, it was big, big news. Not as big, obviously, now with Kelce and Taylor because they're both better at what they do than the two did.
We have social media. We have everything.
Yeah.
It's just everything.
I would have loved for Tony Romo to break it down honestly and say, hey, as a player, this is what you deal with when the person you're dating is a bigger celebrity than you are. Right? Like Tony Romo was a big celebrity as a football player. Yeah. Jessica Simpson at the time was a bigger overall celebrity.
Also, the CBS Blazers need to be sent to the Goodwill or burned. And I don't condone burning things.
They need to be sent with the losing team's Super Bowl championship jerseys over to Africa. Just send them all over.
I remember it was like 2 weeks ago, there was something that they were wearing, and I was like, oh, was their outdoor jackets. And they weren't even like fitted right. And I was like,
yeah,
guys, we know we're watching on CBS. Put a logo in the corner for Christ's sake.
It is there.
And then they put these blazers on them like it's the 40s.
It was interesting.
They look awful. They doesn't let them have any personality. I hate it.
Don Bear jumped in here in the Twitch chat and said that Tony Romo did date Carrie Underwood, but they broke up before the season started. So I guess it wasn't like a football storyline. But when he was dating Jessica Simpson, I mean, she would go to games. It was a whole thing. And I forgot he had like a specific record when she was at games and when she wasn't at games.
I do remember that.
But yeah, I would have, like, that's the stuff. I think football announcers are the slowest to change. And like baseball announcers are great because you have to fill, right? You have to have personal anecdotes and whatnot. The amount of things I know about Michael Kay and John Sterling and Susan Waldman, I know way too much about their lives because baseball's a slow sport.
Yeah.
And when you're listening to a Yankee game, they have to fill with some sort of life
My daughter
anecdote,
is going
right?
to college next year.
Basketball, I think, is the fastest changing sport, and the announcers are so good because you also have
Basketball's so good in the world of entertainment.
It's great.
So good.
And the basketball players that are on the broadcasts, whether it's the in-game broadcast or pre or post, they do a very good job of talking about their life in relation to the games.
But the sports it's so hard to compare the NBA and NFL, and I say this all the time when it comes to entertainment because it's so much easier to put on a show when everyone is so much closer together. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing when your broadcasters are right in it. These guys are all the way up in a booth just really watching the game on a TV.
But that's like baseball. Baseball's far away.
I'd almost say, but it's slower.
Yes.
And they're not watching on a TV.
And everything is isolated in baseball where you're watching little events on an island.
Yeah.
And basketball it's little events on an island. Basketball does have the advantage of being on the court, right? They're between the benches. They're next to the referees. But I think it's just football is always, it takes itself the most seriously, which you're like, get over it. You're millionaires throwing a football around. All the other sports have figured it out.
Yeah.
Right? Basketball has figured out, hey, this is just a bunch of millionaires dribbling a ball. It's not that serious. I think the whole idea of like the shield, right? In the NFL, like you protect the shield, the corporate entity at all times. I think they would do a better job if they just relaxed and realized we're watching grown men give each other CTE. Like, relax.
Hire me.
To do what?
They need one person I'm not working with Tony Romo, but one person.
What if you made him great? What if you could fix him, Carla Marie?
But Daddy, I can fix him.
Yes. What else would
Daddy,
you do?
I love him. I can fix it. What is the...
In Little Mermaid?
No, it's Taylor Swift's track list. It's, but Daddy, I love him. And then it's, the next one is...
Someone
Something
will
about
say it.
fixate. Let me know. Not Tony Romo, but someone else who knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And then me.
Well,
I know what's going on,
what
but
if-
I don't need to know the details and the yards and the inches and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, that's important to people watching
That's
at
right,
home.
but not two people.
But that's not what Tony Romo's job is. Tony Romo's in a weird place where he's the color analyst and a little bit of the play-by-play, but not really. But what if, Carla Marie, there's a new player in the game in the world of sports broadcasting, and they're offering him millions of dollars. His name is Jason Kelce.
And I'm going to work with
What
him.
if he said, I listen to the morning show podcast every day because I grew up I've lived in Philadelphia for a long time. I know Carla Marie and Anthony, big fan of their work. I want someone who can go rogue.
I think he's the go rogue in the group here.
But he's also like, I think their podcast is a great podcast.
Yes. I'm still saying it. Travis Kelce's going to retire also this year. Shock the world. Taylor Swift's going to get hate for it, but him and Jason are going to go do a show together.
Him and Jason would, and it's a show that I love and hate, they would put the Manning cast like to sleep. They would kill it because they're so good.
Because the Manning brothers,
I like their show. I'll say it. And I think their show is good for streamers. I think their show makes what we do look a little more professional.
I seriously, I say this with, I think that both of them need to be tested for CTE sometimes.
They all have it.
I know.
They're
But
all,
like Eli sometimes is like, yeah, that's hard when that happens. And I'm like, dude, I need some energy from you.
let's see. Jess from Minnesota said, I want to see Jason and Beast Mode to travel to tailgates and just have fun experiences. That would be a great show.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Networks want to offer Jason and Travis a show, whether they are Manning cast style or, taking over a whole broadcast.
Yeah.
I could see it. And they're not going to offer it just to Jason right now because and I don't know what happens if they keep doing the podcast.
No.
So I think this show of seeing Jason do tailgates is definitely something that's
I would take the opposite stance. I think let's say it's ESPN or Fox, or let's say it's Fox because ESPN has the Manning brothers, right? I think Fox throws a ton of money at Jason and tries to lock him to a multi-year, like a 5-year deal, right? Because if you can do that, then hopefully the idea is you bring in Travis because Travis will be retired within 5 years.
Jason met with, I forget.
ESPN and Fox already. Yeah. They're the two biggest players, obviously.
Yeah.
I think what's more likely to happen, Carla Marie, is one of the streaming services that now works with the NFL, Apple, Disney, because they have way more money than, ESPN is Disney, but they're spending more money on those products than they are on regular broadcast TV, and they'll get the Kelce brothers. But I would love, that wasn't even a, matchup I was thinking about, though. Beast Mode and Jason Kelce.
Me and Jason.
And you could be in that broadcast
Well,
as well.
Cindy said that she thinks they need a fashion expert. And the problem with that is, and she's mentioned me, one, no.
Well, they would still need a fashion expert.
Two, I hate when it's just like, and we're going to go to our fashion correspondent, the only woman on the broadcast.
I think for sports, I'd be a better fashion correspondent. I know the sneaker culture, and that's like half of the game.
You would. But she did mention that Cindy said, but Taylor Swift's jacket yesterday had a 60 on it and no one knew why. Well, maybe I would be a good fashion expert. So that was
You'd be a good Taylor Swift expert.
Wear by Erin Andrews. That's most of the Seahawks gear that I wear is from Erin Andrews' collection. And the 60 was the year that the Chiefs became a franchise, 1960. And all of like the Chiefs gear that Erin Andrews has is that number. All of the Chiefs gear that she has is a 12 for Seahawks. That's our fan number. Yeah. So you can't. I don't think she does anything with player numbers.
She might not be able to.
Collection. So that's what that was. It was 60 as in
that was the year the team was founded.
But there are rumors that when her dad played, he may have been 60. We're not sure yet because the 60 is definitely the Chiefs thing. Definitely 100% that. But she may have been more drawn to it because when her dad played in high school and college, that could have been his number.
I forgot to bring up this message to you earlier, Carla Marie. So our friend Steve, who is one of the two co-founders of the Roosevelts, along with our friend John, posted this. Do you remember this? It was Travis Kelce.
Do you know why he posted that?
Because you sent it to him?
Yes.
So It's a picture of Travis Kelce way back in the day on ESPN. And this was 2016. And this is going to give you chills.
It's 2017.
Back in July, this is why I know he's right on this.
Okay.
Back in July 2016, Travis Kelce was one of our very first Roosevelt's customers. He bought the 277th shirt that we ever produced. It was the first time we saw someone wearing Roosevelt's on TV. Pretty mind-blowing at the time. Congrats, Killer Trav. And I don't know if you can see it, but that's the...
So I was clearing I was doing this thing where you clear your photos. You start with January, no matter the year.
Uh-huh.
You start with January and you clear all of your photos, delete what you don't need. And that's when I don't know why I have it from January though. And it was the exact.
Yeah. It was on, was he on First Take? What was he on?
And it literally says Travis Kelce at the top. Because at first it didn't look like him. But for me, I probably saved it, Roosevelt's, but of how much he looked like my friend Zach.
What show? ESPN 2. I think this is when they had a morning show. Oh, it's at the Pro Bowl. Yeah.
Crazy. Jinx.
Crazy.
So, like I said, when I've been a Kelce fan since then, honestly.
Mm-hmm. He's always been a pretty personable, like a good person. Oh, the other thing that is on the list, and believe it or not, you can see the list right there. Since we do think he is a nice guy, we do have to talk about his temper yesterday, which got a lot of people talking. I didn't think it was, in the moment, it does not look good. I don't think it was as big of a deal as people are making out to be. I also don't think he meant to bump into Andy Reid. And if you don't know what we're talking about.
I've only seen it in slow-mo.
It didn't look good in regular pace either.
In regular
motion. If you don't know what we're talking about, there was an instance yesterday.
Yeah.
It was after a fumble at the goal line, and I guess Travis Kelce was taken out of the play, that specific play, and he went up to Andy Reid, very mad that apparently he was out of the previous play, and he bumped into Andy Reid and knocked the play card out of his hand.
Almost.
He didn't fall out?
I don't think so.
It didn't, but it didn't even seem like Andy Reid was that mad about the whole thing. He was surprised, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you could tell he tries to like grab Travis to keep him from going away because he wants to talk to him. And I think if you know anything about the Chiefs or even the Eagles teams that Andy Reid coached prior, he is a player's coach. He wants his players to be themselves. He wants his players to come with ideas, voice their opinions, voice their frustrations. I think that is the team, that is the chemistry that team has that makes them so successful.
Yeah.
Is players can go voice their frustrations to Andy Reid and he listens to them. And I think that's just part of it, right? You're going to have a player blow up on you.
Well, we see,
if they're unhappy.
You see players doing that to each other on the sidelines all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, way more, when you see them fighting, like, oh my God, how are they friends? Like, because this is what they do.
Yeah.
But they will be fighting on the sidelines. It's rare that you see such a big name player and a coach.
Yeah.
I see players fighting with coaches all the time at games. It happens, and it's mainly coordinators, not the head coach.
Yeah.
But you see it all the time.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's great to see? No.
No, and that, like Penny said, it's not a good look for him to act that way. Of course not. I just don't think anyone on the team thought it was a big deal.
Well, he also, I don't think, so Travis didn't know it was anywhere.
Yeah, but I think Travis has to always assume that there's a camera on.
He doesn't know it's anywhere.
Yeah.
Post-game interview, they ask him, so what happened in that moment we saw you get heated? He's like, oh, you guys saw that? He goes, I was just telling them how much I love them. We'll go with that for now unless my mic'd up says otherwise. Yeah. So we're going to find out.
Of course.
They asked Andy Reid, and he's like, that guy keeps me young.
Yeah, but I think Andy Reid, I'm sure in that moment he was startled and whatnot, but that is the team culture that he develops. And I don't mean it in a bad way. It's not like a team of rogues that are just screaming at each other, but it's a team where you trust the guy enough next to you to know that even in that moment, when you're exploding and you're screaming, it's well-intentioned.
Right.
And it's emotion. And listen, they're at the height, the pinnacle of what they do professionally. They're the best at what they do. I mean, Andy Reid...
Super Bowl makes me want to vomit. There's so many nerves.
I do think Andy Reid is the best football coach of all time. Without it, in my mind, it's without a doubt, because he's gotten to that level. He's gotten to the Super Bowl with multiple quarterbacks. He's done it with multiple teams. He's done it in a modern era where, like, if you compare him to the older Super Bowl coaches, like, I mean, they're her coaches that people are like, oh, he's one of the best ever. It's like, yeah, they didn't even have black people when that guy was playing.
It's crazy.
In the league, you know, or when that guy was coaching.
But
Travis Kelce is also the best tight end of all time. And I think when you get to that level, you can be honest and scream at someone and know that you're driving each other forward. You don't think there's times where Andy Reid has probably screamed at Travis Kelce?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
And again, it's because of who he is and why it's such a big deal. I will say it. When I tell you, I see coaches bump players, but it happens all the time. But it became a big thing because of Taylor Swift's boyfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
But to reiterate what I have said in the past, football players are the biggest fucking babies.
They are.
You have Travis throwing his helmet one game, Tom Brady smashing an iPad, Patrick Mahomes smashing an iPad. But I did see a lot yesterday of, is Taylor safe with him? And I was like, no one said, is Brittany safe with
Justin?
Patrick, when he smashed the iPad one game. And then Tom Brady, and everyone's like, is Giselle and the kids okay when he smashed the iPad? No. It's just people
they were getting a divorce at that time.
No, before. Oh, actually, they were. They were. Why?
So maybe that's
she
why
was safe at that moment because she wasn't with him anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like, guys, you've clearly never played a sport. If you're commenting, oh my God, how can you get this mad?
Yeah.
B, you've never lost maybe at something, and C, you just don't understand it. Yes, these are all giant babies. All of these men. At the end of the day, they all are playing a game and they want to win the trophy.
And like Don Bear said, I mean, they're all used to the testosterone and aggression. It's just another day in the NFL for them, and they blow up and they get over it pretty quickly.
Yeah,
right. You saw them hugging, not even at the end of the game. Like 3 plays later, they were fine. There was also Z from NYC said he was an Eagles coach. Did I not say Eagles?
I thought you did. You said Eagles.
I may have said Phillies, not Philly.
Oh,
he did not coach baseball.
Imagine.
He probably could, honestly.
Did you see them tackle him on? No, was it Mahomes was laying down or one of the other players was laying down after they won, and Andy gets on him and then he falls on him and he's laying on him.
I did not see
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Rebecca in Jacksonville says it's a very specific environment. The tantrums don't look great, but it's how it is.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, does that mean it's right? Does that mean it's great? Everyone's like, oh, but these are supposed to be role models and for kids. Yes, but they're also still human.
I don't think they're supposed to be role models either.
Exactly. We say this about artists all the time. It's like, well, Miley Cyrus is supposed to be a role model. It's like, so you want her to just be this perfect little Barbie her whole life?
I think and yes, kids always are going to look up to some sort of celebrity, right? But the job of role model is for the normal people in that kid's life. It's for the teachers and the parents and the aunts and uncles and older cousins. Those are who your role models are supposed to be. It's up to you essentially to set a good example for all the kids in your life.
Angela,
whether
great
they're yours
question.
or not.
If it was one of the 49 players, would you be defending him? Not really defending him, just saying this is what happens. I literally see it on the sidelines on both teams every game. But if it was Nick Bosa and his giant arms knocking Kyle Shanahan, I mean, again, I would say the same thing. He's a big baby, but this is what they do. Yeah. I see it with my own eyeballs, not on TV. Seahawks and not Seahawks.
Yeah.
Every single game, I promise you, I see it. Let alone what they do to each other on the field.
Well, there's that part as well. Overall, though, it was kind of the thread that I've been talking about all day. The commercial started slow. The halftime show started slow. The game itself started slow. All of them were great at the end. I mean, obviously, we had an overtime game that was won in the final couple seconds of the first quarter of overtime.
That's so insane. Have you seen all the news that apparently 49ers players didn't know or understand the overtime rules?
That's on them.
I know. And
I didn't fully understand it either. I thought it was one overtime quarter, but then when you go back and the ref says this starts a brand new game, which means you're going to get 4 quarters. Mm-hmm. It's not just that overtime period. This starts a new game.
But if someone scores a touchdown, it's over.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know what, because I was reading it quickly this morning. Mm-hmm. One of the players it was either Christian McCaffrey or someone else was like, yeah, we didn't understand the rules. And
which is actually fine. I know that sounds crazy.
One of the Chiefs players commented on that, whatever SportsCenter or whatever post it was, and was like, for the last 3 to 5 weeks we've been having meetings, rules meetings. What happens if it gets to overtime? And I guess 49ers came out and said they had not won.
So I was actually, before I even knew that, I was going to say it is up. I'm not surprised that the players maybe didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're also trying to memorize plays and whatnot and stay in shape. That's coaches. That's the coach's job to make sure that the important information is delivered to the players at the right time.
Right.
And clearly,
it was not.
The Chiefs were coached better in that scenario than the 49ers were. What are you reading?
Just catching up because I saw a lot of
I bet the second, what was that?
Second last overtime.
Second overtime touchdown. Shut up a lot of the haters. It was a great game. It really, all around, it was a great game. And I said this to my group of friends in our group chat yesterday. If anything proves that there are not NFL script writers, is that Hardman got that touchdown to end the game yesterday.
Okay, but can you explain the whole psychic thing?
Oh, okay.
This made Anthony believe in psychics.
Well, no, but there was in Hard Knocks. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hard Knocks. Jets. Is it psychic? Right.
Was that overtime rule just Super Bowl rules or all season? Because this is the first year with that rule.
They had adjusted the overtime rules for the playoffs, I want to say 3 seasons ago.
Oh.
But they've never, I don't think they've had to use it. I think this was the first time they had to use it.
Playoffs and Super Bowl.
Yes. As far as I know. So basically what happened was this season, Hard Knocks, the HBO show that goes into like the locker room and everything with a team during the preseason, they did it with the Jets.
Yes.
And is it Mikkel? How do I pronounce his first name?
I thought they were saying Nicole the whole time.
Is it Nicole Hardman? Nicole Hardman, I guess is how you pronounce it. There's a scene where a psychic comes into the Jets locker room, and a lot of teams will do this. I'm like, oh, who do you think this is who you're going to play in the Super Bowl? You have to like envision it, blah, blah, blah. And the psychic does it with Hardman. And it's the Jets beating the 49ers. I forget what the score was. The score wasn't what it was yesterday. And everyone took that clip and was like, wait a second. Hardman doesn't play for the Jets anymore. He plays for the Chiefs. So the psychic is could be right that the Chiefs, Nicole Hardman's
you were going to win the Super Bowl against the 49ers to that guy.
Was going to beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. And
it's kind of insane.
And he did. So he did catch that final touchdown.
Apparently he also didn't know that they won in that moment. So I don't know if he wasn't going to these meetings or not.
But I think if there were NFL script writers, it would have been either Patrick Mahomes running the ball in for a touchdown or Travis Kelce catching the ball for a touchdown.
Have you seen the meme that was like Travis Kelce had like 1 yard in the first half, and then it's like gets called from Taylor's team at halftime, and then he shows up as a new player?
Yeah, in the first half, I think he had one target, 1 reception, 1 yard total.
Or it might have been 7 yards, something insane.
And then had a decent second half.
Yeah.
He didn't score any touchdowns, right? No, he did not. But it was a great game altogether. Yeah. I thought the 3 hours or whatever I sat down and watched the Super Bowl, all the things I wanted to be entertaining, they were all entertaining. The game, the halftime show, and the commercials. All of them started slow, but final result was an A on everything. Maybe not an A+. I don't know. Maybe the commercials don't get an A+. Because it was kind of the same formula for all the good ones.
Everything gets A+ to me.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Rebecca in Jacksonville. Agreed all around. Oh, how was Martha? Martha said her kids watched the SpongeBob Super Bowl.
I saw clips of it.
I love that they do that. Mm-hmm. And I was actually very impressed with the Toy Story one that they did for the Jacksonville game this year. I watched clips of that because it was way too early for us to watch it here on the West Coast because it was like 6 o'clock in the morning or something. But the way that they're able to, with that, because with the SpongeBob broadcast, at least the ones that I've seen, it's the regular gameplay. And then there's overlays on top of it, like slime and stuff coming out of the end zone, which they also did at the end of the actual Super Bowl.
They showed it.
They showed like those fake fireworks they had.
Oh,
kind of the same idea.
Yeah.
But with the Toy Story one, what they did was the actual players on the field were Toy Storied. They were Disneyified.
Yes.
And the NHL has done this too.
Yeah, with
that technology,
it's so cool.
Is insane.
It's wild.
The fact that they are tracking these players, each of them live.
Do the players have to wear anything?
I don't know. I'm sure there are ways to do it without,
I think they're chipped.
but they could just have a chip just for like
Travis
motion
goes
tracking.
in with his Pfizer injections and chips everybody.
Did anyone ask? I know in the lead up to the Super Bowl, they asked Andy Reid about like the political aspect of like Travis Kelce and Taylor are somehow working for the Biden administration. Did anyone do that after the game? Do you know?
No, but they asked Travis in a pregame interview.
They did.
Like his one-on-one sit down.
God.
And no, she's like, so what do you say to these people that say you dating is a conspiracy? And he just goes, you're crazy. Looks right at the camera and goes, every single one of you. And I think he says NFL fans or whatever he says, you're crazy. And he's like laughing, but he looks right at the camera. And I was like, yeah, I mean.
That definitely doesn't help his case. People are going to be like, now he's defending it too strongly.
Yeah.
It is time for us to get out of here. We got some things we got to get done. Thank you for hanging out with us this morning. Thank you for keeping us company. Yeah. Hopefully we were able to do the same for you. Any last words, Carla Marie?
See ya tomorrow.